going on, guys? This video is about my z06 2003. I just replaced the battery, so unfortunately I didn't think to do this video about before, during, and after. I sort of just thought about it now, afterwards. So you're going to get the tail end version where I tell you what I did and how I did it, and I'll show you, what it looks like now. Unfortunately, like I said, there's no before pictures because there's no before video because I didn't think of it. So my bad. Didn't really put two and two together. I sort of just picked it up now and figured one video better than none. So before I replaced it, I got it back from servicing, and when I got inside and sat down, you see how bright those gauges are? Well, unfortunately, they were not that bright when I went to start it up. So I got inside, and right away, that little security light that comes on right around here, it was dim. I mean, really dim. It was barely registering, so I knew something was a little wrong. Also, down in the center console here, somewhere around in here, I could hear some kind of ticking, so I knew something was a little jacked up. And of course, as soon as I turned the ignition, nothing happened. Also, when you first turn it on, these gauges, they'll set themselves going forward and backwards. Well, there was like only one that was doing it. I think it was the speedo. I don't even think any of the other ones were doing it because there's just no juice in the battery. It couldn't do anything. So that's how I knew. So what I did was I jumped it. I got it started. I took it for a nice drive. Figured, okay, I'll drive it around, and it just got dead from being in the lot at the servicing center. Well, that seemed good, and I got it back home and I parked it, and everything was like, yay, cool to go. And then the next day I went to start it, and I mean literally the next morning, and it wouldn't start. So I knew it was okay, it's got to be the battery, because it shouldn't really be dead in one day. So just to double check my double check, I used my trickle charger for my battery for my motorcycle, and I hooked up my trickle charger, ran it through into the house, and let it charge for, what was it today, 3 days? 2 days. And usually the bike will take half a day, maybe a full day at most, depending on how dead it is, until it reads full float. Yeah, this thing never read full float. It was charging for 2.5 days, so I knew right away something was jacked up. So I took it out and brought it to AutoZone, got a new battery, and put it in. So, getting it out. You gotta take these terminals off. This one is a 3/4, and I don't remember what the one over here, this green one is. I don't remember what the negative is. It's smaller than 3/8. That's all I know. It was a small wrench that I used to do it. But this one is 3/4. It's pretty standard. You probably won't be able to fit any ratchets in here because there's not a lot of space. It's basically the width of my finger is what you got. So you gotta use wrenches, no big deal. Also, when I was done pulling them off, the first thing I went to do is just lift the thing out, but you can't because you got that other bolt down there that holds the battery in place. It clamps it down to the bottom. So you gotta undo that bolt. So you're gonna need a ratchet with an extender. Once you get that off, be careful, don't drop anything in the back here because you can get stuff that goes underneath the plate, and it goes down, and what happens is if it goes down in there, it sits on top of the panel on the bottom, and you'll never be able to get it out. If you do drop it, you could just do what I did, because of course I dropped the wrench, because why not? So I used a wire hanger and just bent it around, and I used the wire hanger in there, but it took me a long time, so really be extra careful so you don't piss yourself off. Underneath the battery, there's a plate like it sits on, and there's a hole in the middle. So, you know, be careful not to drop anything. The 3/4 inch terminal connector, that'll pop off. It actually comes right out of the red casing, so it'll pop right out. This one doesn't. The negative one didn't seem to pop right out. It seemed to stay put nice and good. So, you know, I didn't have to worry about that one falling out, but I did have to watch that bolt, so it didn't fall down the bottom and I lose it. So first thing you do when you take this one off, just take the bolt out and put it outside, or you can put it up here, somewhere where it's not going to fall anywhere. That one you're good. I also take the red cover and if you can get the black cover off, good. I didn't have to because it was so clean. But if you can get the red cover off, just clean away the corrosion. Battery, it's tight fitting here, so what you got to do is you got to pull it this way and then up. So you got to kind of pull it towards the fuse box and then up, or angle it a little bit. It's really tight, not a lot of room, but it's okay. So once I took the battery out, first thing I said to myself was, how many times are we going to have the battery out? Maybe I should clean everything. And there was a good amount of stuff on the bottom. I mean, it doesn't look like I cleaned it down there, mostly because that stuff is mostly rust, and I would have to get a wire brush to get some of that stuff out. But up here, I completely cleaned this, which is regular old soap and water. I kind of missed some spots right here, obviously. Great, notice that coming out. Cleaned everything over here. I cleaned down as much as I could, and I cleaned the bottom of this battery case really, really well. Now, I used a hose, and I used a mist, a very light mist. Obviously, you have to connect the battery and the terminals before you do this, so you don't ruin anything. But once you start cleaning it, you could just mist it with some water, lightly get it wet, and then drop some soap on a rag, and then wipe it down with the soapy rag, and mist it again with the hose. And in order to get the water out, because you don't want to put anything back when it's wet, in order to get the water out, I just patted it with a towel really carefully, and it took me like, you know, 10-15 minutes, but I got everything done. So then it came time to put the thing back. So what I did was I made sure everything was completely dry. First thing I did was I popped the battery back in, and then you should get a kit when you get a new battery with these little felt things. So you put the felt connectors on each terminal, and then I always connect positive last. So I connected the negative first. No grease on the connections. All you got to do is put the connections on with the felt. I did the green one first, connected it up. Red one second, connected it up, and then they give you grease in the packet. And all you got to do is put the grease over the top of the outside nut. You don't need grease on the inside because it'll form resistance on the battery and then it'll fuck it up. So you just put the grease on the outside. And that's about it. Let me know if you guys got any questions.